The forest stretched endlessly beneath a pale green sky. Giant trees rose like towers of time, their roots buried deep in the bones of the earth. Mist slithered between trunks, glowing faintly under shafts of sunlight that broke through the canopy. Every leaf seemed to whisper stories of creatures long gone. In the heart of this primeval world walked a titan, Therizinosaurus, a creature both feared and misunderstood. His feathers rippled like waves of midnight, each step echoing softly against the wet earth. His claws, long, curved, glinting like blades of black glass, swung gently by his side, more ancient than the trees themselves. He stopped near a river, its surface trembling with the rhythm of the wind. He lowered his head and drank slowly, his golden eyes scanning the forest around him. He could feel it, the silence, the kind of silence that meant something was watching. This forest was his kingdom, yet it no longer felt like home. The air was colder now, emptier. His kin, gone. His calls were met only with echoes. And yet, the forest still breathed with him, ancient and alive. The wind brushed his feathers as though the forest itself was telling him, "You are not alone, old one. Not yet." That night, a strange vibration rippled through the soil. Small creatures darted from their burrows. Birds took flight, crying into the dark sky. The jungle, usually calm, was suddenly restless. Therizinosaurus lifted his head, nostrils flaring. A low rumble followed, faint at first, then stronger, like thunder rolling underground. He could smell it, a predator's scent, sharp, metallic, familiar. His claws flexed, and then, through the fog and flickering lightning, the figure appeared, massive, muscular, eyes burning like molten gold. The tyrant of the south, the terror he once fought and lost against. The tyrant roared, and the very trees trembled. Birds exploded into the sky, vanishing into the storm. The ground split under his weight as he advanced, teeth glinting like daggers in the dim light. Therizinosaurus didn't move. His breath came slow, heavy, calm. The jungle had chosen him as its final guardian, and he accepted it. He turned his head slightly, the rain dripping from his feathers. "So it ends where it began," his eyes seemed to say. The heavens broke open. Lightning tore the sky apart, thunder screamed across the valley, and rain poured like 1,000 arrows. When the tyrant lunged, the world exploded into chaos. His jaws snapped shut inches from Therizinosaurus's neck, missing by a heartbeat. The reaper swung his claws, the sound of metal slicing through flesh echoing through the storm. Blood and rain mixed, staining the ground red. They circled each other, two gods of destruction, relics of a dying age. Each breath from their lungs was a storm in itself. The tyrant lunged again, slamming Therizinosaurus into a tree that shattered like glass. Pain roared through him, but his rage burned brighter. He rose again, feathers slick with rain, eyes burning with fire. He struck. One claw slashed across the tyrant's face. The other tore deep into his shoulder. The beast roared in agony, stumbling back, thunder answering his cry. Every strike was slower now, heavier. Each roar faded into gasps of exhaustion. But Therizinosaurus would not fall. He had endured storms, hunger, and the silence of extinction. He would endure this too. With a final surge of strength, he charged forward, both claws raised high, lightning flashing behind him like wings. The claws came down. The tyrant fell. The forest went silent again. Only the rain remained, falling softly over the broken earth, a lullaby for two warriors of another world. Morning came quietly. The jungle was soaked, mist curling gently through the wreckage. The air smelled of ash and wet leaves. Therizinosaurus stood among shattered trees and scattered feathers. His body trembled with fatigue. His claws were dull, bloodied, but victorious. He looked down at the fallen tyrant, the enemy who had haunted his dreams, now silent forever. For a long time, he did not move. The wind tugged at his feathers, whispering softly as if the forest was mourning too. He limped toward a clearing where sunlight filtered through the trees. The world looked peaceful, almost innocent, but every step reminded him of what was lost: his species, his kind, his purpose. He lifted his head and let out a long, low call, one of sorrow, pride, and farewell. It echoed through the valley, fading into the mist. The jungle listened, then answered with silence. Days turned into weeks. The scars of battle faded, but so did his strength. The world was moving on. New creatures chirped in the trees. Strange mammals crept through the grass, their tiny eyes curious and fearless. Therizinosaurus watched them from afar. He felt no anger, only peace. This was nature's way. Endings and beginnings, forever intertwined. One morning, he climbed a ridge overlooking the vast Gree. The forest slept, but the sky above was restless once more. Dark clouds swirled like smoke, rumbling with thunder. The scent of coming rain filled the air. The same storm that had once brought war to this jungle was returning again. Therizinosaurus stood near the old riverbed, his reflection shimmering faintly in the dark water. His wounds had healed, but his strength had not fully returned. The deep scars on his chest and neck glowed faintly under the stormlight, memories carved into his flesh. He tilted his head, hearing something beyond the rain. A strange, rhythmic tremor, soft at first, then louder. It wasn't the tyrant. No. This was something new. From between the mist and trees emerged 3 younger predators, smaller but faster. A new breed, sleek and coordinated. They had evolved in the silence he had left behind. Their eyes burned with hunger and confidence. Therizinosaurus lowered his stance. His claws, dulled from time, dragged along the earth, leaving deep scars in the mud. He was old, but the fire inside him still burned. The forest had not yet taken him, and he would not surrender its peace so easily. Lightning flashed, and for a moment their shadows danced like ghosts on the trees. The battle for the new age was about to begin. The young predators moved as one, circling the old guardian. Their growls echoed through the jungle, sharp and impatient. They did not know the weight of the creature before them, the countless battles he had survived, the storms he had outlived. The first lunged forward, jaws snapping. Therizinosaurus pivoted to the side and swung his right claw. The strike landed clean. The predator shrieked as the tip of the claw sliced across its back. Blood splattered the leaves, steaming in the rain. The second came from behind, biting into Therizinosaurus's shoulder. He roared in pain, twisting his massive body, slamming the attacker against a tree trunk that cracked like thunder. The third darted forward, aiming for his neck. But he was ready. With a sudden surge of strength, he rose to his full height, towering over them all, feathers slick and shining with water. His claws flashed once, twice, and silence followed. The jungle fell quiet again, broken only by the sound of rain and heavy breathing. He had won, but barely. He looked down at the fallen ones. They were young, desperate, hungry, not evil, just born into a harsher world. For the first time, Therizinosaurus felt something he hadn't in ages: sadness, not for himself, but for the world changing without him. He stepped back, breathing slowly, his chest heaving with exhaustion. The storm finally broke apart, and faint sunlight peeked through. The war between generations was over, but it had cost him his strength. Perhaps the last of it. Days passed. The forest grew brighter, greener. Small streams cut through the earth again, carrying life where death once ruled. Birds nested on branches, their songs echoing where roars once thundered. Therizinosaurus now moved slower, his steps heavy but calm. The forest no longer feared him. It embraced him. Butterflies landed on his feathers, and tiny mammals followed his trail, unafraid. He reached the same ridge where he had once roared to the sunrise. The valley below was alive again. The world had moved forward, and he, the last of his kind, had finally fulfilled his duty. He lowered himself onto the grass. The wind brushed against his feathers, gentle and cool. His eyes drifted toward the horizon, the place where the sun kissed the mist. He thought of his kin, of the battles, of the storms and silence. And then, slowly, peacefully, he closed his eyes. The wind grew still for a moment. The forest held its breath. And then, as if in tribute, the trees swayed softly, whispering his name. When the dawn light touched his claws, they glowed faintly, like gold beneath the mist. He was gone, but not forgotten. The jungle would tell his story forever, of Therizinosaurus, the reaper of the forest, the last shadow, the gentle giant who fought until the end. And when storms came again, the wind would still carry his echo. A deep, distant roar that told the world, I was here.